Listen, slow metabolism is not one of the leading reasons why people are gaining weight and becoming unhealthy in America. I don't care what Oprah said. I don't care what Dr. Oz said. A slow metabolism is the symptom of poor health. It's not the cause of it. It's a symptom of poor nutritional habits. It's a symptom of poor exercising habits. And I hate it when people try to blame their struggles with ill health and their struggles with the battle of the bulge on things like magic and voodoo and the devil or whatever phantom they can think of. Hate it even worse when they try to blame the nutrition program that they chose and the exercise program that they explored, that they researched and chose as the reason that they weren't able to succeed. It's not exercise's fault. As poor as that exercise may be, it's not its fault. It's not nutrition's fault. I mean, people have this idea that someday they could literally be walking past a mirror, look over and be shocked to see a Twinkie hanging out of their mouth. How did that get there? That had to be the nutrition. Wasn't me. It's time for this slow metabolism excuse to die. It's also time to send professionals who contrived this excuse back to their labs, censured and rebuked. And they shouldn't be allowed to come back out until they learn to apply a little more common sense to their blown up, stupid thoughts and theories. Did these guys ever stop for 1 second to really think about what they're saying? These guys were blaming it all on undereating. Undereating! To think that eating too little is somehow responsible for somebody's battle with the bulge, getting too big, even partially, is just poor thinking. I'm telling you this from the standpoint of a farmer's son. I was a farmer's son. Let me tell you the last way that we would have tried to fatten up a calf. In order to fatten up a calf to get a higher resale value at market, we would not have starved the thing. If that worked, I would probably still be up there doing it right now. Can you imagine those margins? Starve a cow, make more money. Every farmer I know would be a cajillionaire. Oh, you're just being silly now, Neil. People aren't like cows. Yeah, in that regard we are. Look, there is no doubt that metabolism slows if you don't eat right and if you're not exercising properly, and that this slow metabolism makes it harder to win the battle of the bulge. Science proves that. So does common sense, so does observation. But it is piss poor thinking to imagine that eating too little is what's making us all fatter. I mean, where on earth other than America is this happening? I hate to sound insensitive. I've done it once before and I was ashamed that I did it back then. But is this how people are starving to death in Africa? By eating too much? No, that's too far. Now you're getting crazy, dude. Am I? It's a linear thought. If you believe undereating causes obesity, you have to believe the other. You're not permitted not to. And if you'll believe those, here are a couple more linear thoughts that you're also not permitted not to believe. You have to believe that overweight and unhealthy people became that way due to forces that are by and large out of their own control. Think about it. Everybody knows that eating too much makes you gain weight, eating too little makes you lose weight. Now, the pseudoscientists would have you believe that eating too little makes you gain weight and eating too much makes you lose weight. It's out of your control. You're damned if you do and damned if you don't. Here's another thing that you are now not permitted to disbelieve. Weight loss by low-calorie dieting is impossible because we just found out that low-calorie dieting makes us gain weight. So how are we supposed to lose? Does this ever turn around? Because it seems like I've seen people lose weight by lowering their calories. I mean, maybe it gets to a point where if you start eating too little and too little and too little, you gain weight and gain weight and gain weight. But then eventually, if you eat so little, that you'll eventually start to lose weight. How does that work? Something else you're not permitted to disbelieve. Skinny people cannot exist on Earth due to undereating. Remember, you believe that undereating causes people to get bigger. Unless, like we talked about before, somewhere that turns around. And if it does turn around, I ask you scientists and whomever else, what exactly is that line where that starts to turn around? Here's the last thing that you're not permitted to disbelieve. It's a bit of a stretch, but let's go there. Back in World War II, American GIs who liberated Nazi and Japanese concentration camps were all frickin' liars. See, when these brave men got to these concentration camps, they found very, very skinny people there. And what they came back and told all the rest of us was that these Nazis and Japanese were starving these poor people. Now, we just established that people can't get skinny by undereating, unless there's some magical thing that makes it all turn around. Therefore, these men, these heroes, must have been frickin' liars. Too far? I totally agree. But that's what you're saying. And there are more ridiculous thoughts where that came from. Way more. But how about we agree to this? What if we agree to quit trying to make parallel linear thoughts to this hoodoo, voodoo, magical stuff, and instead put the onus of responsibility back where it belonged in the first place? Because remember, people who can't take responsibility for their failures will never be worthy of success.